Hey guys! For today's video I want to share with you my thoughts on training multiple styles, whether I think that's a good idea or whether you should just stick to one. And today I'm drinking a Da Hong Pao, which is a oolong tea from Fujian province. It's a tea that you can buy on my store, monkeyofficepeach.com, as well as most of the teaware that you see here. So this is something that's talked about quite a lot. There are people out there that are saying you should only stick to one style, never do anything else, and they're very, very kind of fixed on that idea. However, I think that's kind of a little bit close-minded, and of course, expanding your knowledge is only ever a good thing. That said, there's kind of the other extreme, where there's people that want to learn lots and lots of different styles. So when people come to me to learn Taiji Mantis, one of the first things that I say to them is, I'm not this kind of teacher who says, you can only train with me, you're not allowed to do anything else, you have to be purely loyal to Taiji Mantis and to my teaching, and that's it. I don't believe in that. I say to people, it's your own life and it's your own martial journey. You're free to do whatever you want to do. If you want to train with other teachers, that's absolutely fine. That said, the one expectation or requirement that I have when teaching people is that when they come to have a class with me, they leave their other styles at the door. What I mean by that is, when you're learning Taiji Mantis, you want to be fully engaged and focused on Taiji Mantis. You don't want to be trying to compare, in Hangar we have a similar hand that looks like this, or in White Crane, the footwork's like that. The toes are turned this way or the hips are in this position. You've got to leave all that out the door and just completely embrace the Taiji Mantis and completely immerse yourself in what I'm teaching, the way I'm explaining, the way I'm doing things. And likewise, when you're with your other teacher, you shouldn't be talking about Taiji Mantis. Will said you should do a horse stance with your knees in this position. You need to respect what that teacher's doing and immerse yourself in the way they're teaching. So that's kind of the only requirement I have. Now, that said, regarding my own opinion on multiple styles, I do think it's problematic when people try to learn lots of styles all at the same time, especially styles that are very, very different from each other. And the thing is, when I was living and training martial arts in China, I was training several hours a day, for a good period of 10 years. I was training pretty much the entire afternoon, 5 days a week. But the thing is now, living a modern Western lifestyle, we're focused on developing our career, we have, family commitments, social commitments, there's all kind of things going on, all kinds of things in life. You just can't really practically train, hours every day. And I think if you're managing to train 1 hour a day, say 5-6 days a week, alongside all of these other commitments, I think that's pretty good. So when you think about that, let's say you're doing 5 hours of martial arts training a week and you're training 3 or 4 different styles, then really you're kind of only getting an hour or so training in any one style a week. That's not a lot when you think about it. That's not enough to really develop an understanding of the style. You see, the thing with Chinese martial arts is it's not just about superficially memorizing the choreography of a whole bunch of forms or just learning a bunch of cool applications. It's about really internalizing the system. It's about letting those movements become a part of you, embodying the principles of what that style is all about. And to do that, you need to completely immerse yourself in it. You need to obsess over it. You need to be drilling the same movements over and over and over and over again. I mean, as I say, when I was in China, I was training several hours every day. And the thing was, it would typically take me sort of up to 6 months just to learn one form, because it was all about repetition of each individual movement until it really, really sinks in and your body links up and you can move in a coordinated way. And it's a focus on quality over quantity, and that's the key to attainment in Chinese martial arts, is that it is developing that quality through repetition. And quite often as well, like, different styles will contradict each other. If you're learning, white crane on Monday, and then your teacher's telling you have like a very upright, narrow stance, like roll your hips under, turn your toes and your knees in, keep your center line, use these very small, intricate hand movements. And then on Tuesday, you're doing something like, Baji Chuan, and, you're being told, like, use these big, expansive movements, cover a lot of ground with your footwork, use big, heavy stomping motions, move in with the whole body, smash the opponent, barge them down with the shoulder, things like that. Then Wednesday, you're doing, like, Tai Chi, and you're being told, okay, be very soft and gentle, flow, like, don't resist force, move with the force, redirect it. These are all completely contradictory to each other, and you're going to really, really struggle to kind of be able to do any one of them properly. So, I suppose what I want to say is, at the same time, like, it is okay to learn multiple styles, but I believe a better way of doing it is to focus on one style at a time. I like to think of it as very similar to when you're learning a language. Like when you speak to polyglots of how have they learned multiple languages, they've not tried to learn them all at the same time. They've not done Chinese and Japanese and Spanish and Arabic, or one class every day or whatever. They will immerse themselves in one language. They'll probably go and live in that country, or they'll just take really intensive, language courses and completely focus on one language. And when they get to a level that they're happy with, they'll move on and learn another language. And that, I think, is the same way to approach martial arts. Really just fully throw yourself, give everything, obsess over one style, get to a certain level. And you feel happy, like, okay, I kind of understand this now, but I want to do something else. Then it's fine to go and find another teacher and kind of start that process again. And what you'll find by doing that is that, you'll get to a point where you'll start to find that there are a lot of similarities and crossovers, but you won't really be able to appreciate them properly if you haven't really grasped each style as an individual first. I mean, when you look at, a lot of the great masters in China, the people that have started the lineages and styles that we practice, like, they weren't just a carbon copy of what their teacher did. They weren't just learning everything, memorizing it, keeping it completely untouched. They would add their own kind of spin on things, and that would be through a process of going and seeing what's out there, exchanging with other masters, getting into fights, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. How do you deal with this style? How do you deal with that style? What does this guy have that's really good that I can take on board and absorb into my own? What are the shortcomings that I can kind of patch up by filling in with something else? And that's what they did, and that's how all these different lineages and styles came about. And the thing is, they still did this with a strong foundation. They would still go and learn, like, under one teacher solidly for a long period of time, and that would be what they would call their Mu Quan, or their mother style, or sometimes also called Kaimen Quan, which means like your foundational, or it literally means the style that opens the door to you. So that would be kind of like your foundational style that everything else that you learn is built upon. And it's only after doing that for a long time and getting really good at one thing that then they would kind of go off into the wider world, which would be called Fangyo, which literally means visiting friends. And it's kind of a colloquial way for saying the things that I mentioned before, where you go off and see what's out there and try other styles and absorb the good techniques and the strong points of others. So that's something that there's been a very long tradition of in China. I just want to circle back to what I say to new students when they first start with me. And the other thing that I say to them is, like, if you do want to learn a lot of different styles as well, you have to be honest with yourself about what you want out of martial arts. Like, I'm happy to teach you and I'll do my best to teach you, the best I can, But if you are training lots of other things that are going to all kind of be contradictory at the same time, then you have to be realistic in your expectations of what you want to achieve, because you're going to struggle to get a decent level of skill in any one of these arts. You're always kind of going to be a bit of an outsider, kind of dabbling, you know, like you're going to get a superficial appreciation. If you enjoy how different seeing how different styles work, moving your body in different ways, just, collecting different forms, that's absolutely fine. Everybody has their own goals and aspirations for what they want to do with martial arts. But you do have to be honest with yourself about that. And, if what you want is to attain a really high level, then I would suggest that you do it the way that I said, where you learn one style at a time and you kind of try to build them on top of each other. Try to really appreciate each one and immerse yourself and become part of each one, rather than just kind of like dipping your toes, in it. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on training multiple styles. I'm really keen to hear what you guys think, so let us know in the comments below. Do you just train one style? Do you train lots of styles? How do you find training different styles if you do? Let us know. I'm really, really keen to hear from all of you. Some of you may have some very different viewpoints to me, and that's absolutely awesome. I love to hear that. And if you've made it this far into the video, I want to reward you and say thank you for supporting the channel with 10% off for every product in my store, monkeyofftherspeech.com, including a lot of the teawear I've got here, the Chinese clothing that I'm often wearing, the Monkey Steals Speech merchandise, stuff like that. You can use the voucher Let's Go Okinawa. I'll put that in a pinned comment below, and you can get 10% off everything store-wide. So thank you very much, as always, and I'll see you in the next video.